Welcome to Fire Breathing Kittens, an actual play podcast. Every episode microplot is a complete adventure with a beginning and an end that fits into the overarching macroplot of the whole season. Because they stand sturdily on their own, you can listen to these adventures in any order and can skip any you don't enjoy. Today, we are playing using the combat mechanics from a fan-created expansion of the game called Lucas. It's our first time playing, so we might make some mistakes. If you enjoy these mechanics, you can find BRAWL, which is the name of this fan-created expansion, on DriveThruRPG, and you can find the original game of Lucas on itch.io. Build your own Lucas character and play a game with friends. Speaking of friends, today we are joined by Reine.
Hello, everyone. I am a 5'2" humanoid-looking woman. Definitely not going through as a human anymore, considering 2 episodes ago my horns regrew and ripped my headscarf, also causing revealing the wolf ears and everything. Due to the support of my fellow fire-breathing kittens, however, I have amassed enough confidence to wear my horns with pride this time. Yeah, as usual, I'm clad in druidy adventurer's gear, bag of forageables on my hip, and we'll see where the adventure takes us.
Wonderful. We also have Camilla.
Hey everybody, I'm doing a character voice today to practice it, even though it's not great, because you get better with practice. So, did you know that a hot dog vendor will sell hot dogs to anyone?
Awesome.
That was a question.
Oh, we did know that.
Just even if you're the worst.
Well, we will see who we run into in this adventure. And, of course, we have Grantham.
Greetings, Grantham Picklebottom Jr. here, joining the fire-breathing kittens on a brand new adventure. I'm a newcomer to the guild. What you see before you is a 72-year-old man, a mere 5'7", human, and dressed in fine tailored garb. An exquisite pair of breeches, velveteen if you like, a fine tailcoat, waistcoat beneath that, a pair of reading glasses, grey hair swept back, and twinkling blue eyes behind, yes, these rather finely made spectacles.
Wonderful.
Oh, and a silver-tipped cane. I apologise, GM, I mustn't forget, I am carrying a fine cane with a silver handle.
Of course, you can't forget that. So, we find ourselves this fine day in the Fire Breathing Kittens Guild Hall. The guild is a large building with a bar. Everybody can go into the bar. There are also guild member only areas, of course. There's a sitting area with wooden tables and chairs, and a wall with a corkboard and job flyers posted. What are you all doing there?
Well, Grantham is very excited, and he's standing by the jobs board and looking across them all and thinking, my word, so many opportunities for fun. So many opportunities I've never experienced before. I've barely left the house, you see.
Very nice.
Reine is currently fighting one of the job flyers that flew off the wall and is sticking to her horns, and she can't really see. So she's like trying to get it off.
When the ceiling is suddenly a foot shorter than it used to be.
Oh yeah, she bumps into things constantly. She hasn't had them for like at least 5 years.
Oh.
And you don't see Camilla.
Great.
Well, Grantham is seeing the werewolf-like creature struggling with one of the flyers and goes over to try and help. Like, I'm terribly sorry. Excuse me. Do you need assistance?
Assistance from who? Wait.
This is Grantham really going toward Reine and asking if she needs help.
Yeah, she can't see through the flyer.
Oh, I see. Sorry, this is me projecting. My name is Grantham. I'm here to assist you if you require assistance. And let me help you with that. And I take my cane and I start trying to hook with the silver handle, try to hook the flyer away from the eyes.
She would she can probably tell where the noise is coming from, so she tries to like move her head in the direction and kind of like help. And I guess we'll get it off eventually. Then she'd be like, yes, thank you. That was... I mean, I only have one working eye left, but I still like my sight.
So as you two are wrestling with this flyer caught on Reine's horn, a man walks into the guild hall. He's wearing a slate gray suit, average height, looks pretty built under the suit. You can tell that there's some muscle mass behind there, and he's carrying an unassuming dark brown briefcase. So he looks around and pins a couple of flyers to the corkboard. And he leaves, but as he's leaving, he's walking very slowly and looking over his shoulder to see if anybody in the guild hall is going to look at this
Uh,
flyer. It's almost as if he's waiting to launch into a spiel of sorts.
Grantham takes a look at the gentleman, and does Grantham recognize this man by any chance? Being a fan of pop culture and observing things through a scrying crystal, and met for many years from his estate over in Jishwap. Yes, that's the question.
Yeah, you know what? We are going to do our first skill check, and so as this game is based off of Lucas, the skill and combat checks are all based off of cards. So since this is a non-combat skill check, go ahead and put down 2 cards and add the value of both together. This is going to be an easy skill check, so it just has a DC, CC, I guess, of 5.
I believe I have a 7 and a jack, which I believe a jack's amounting to 11 puts me at 18.
Yes. So you immediately clock this person, and you recognize him as Vance Mannheim. He is a traveling multiversal MC and the creator and kind of general manager, if you will, of the Multiversal Tournament of Champions, which is a wrestling event that goes from plane to plane. And you realize you have watched this. You have tuned in many times.
Grantham goes up to the silver-suited gentleman and completely loses his grasp of decorum. My word! You're Vance Mannheim! I'm sorry, I'm an enormous fan. I'm an enormous fan. I have seen your television... rewind. I have been watching your endeavors on my scrying crystal for decades. And I start rigorously shaking his hand. It's just such a pleasure to meet you, sir.
Vance takes your hands and shakes it with equal bravado, and he says, "Thank you. I'm always happy to hear a fan and meet one in person. We are hosting the Multiversal Tournament of Champions in Niqamui, and you seem like a good fan. You should absolutely come on down. It is And he hands you a flyer, and so this information is very, posted on the flyer. Tonight at the Easinghouse Forum. And he kind of looks around and he says, "Well, we're still looking for one more team to join. Is that something that you're interested in?"
Grantham gasps. My word, this is exactly why I've left the Grantham Picklebottom Estate. Not the Grantham Picklebottom Estate. I'm putting my own name into things. The Picklebottom Estate. This is exactly why I left home. I would love to do this. You, horned, wolf-eared person over here. Perhaps you'd like to join a team with me.
So wrestling. Well, I've never done it before, but I suppose I did make a promise with Chica to become stronger, and a tournament sounds like a good opportunity.
Vance kind of as you walk over, Vance kind of, pulls you into this little circle that's being made and shakes your hand, again, very animatedly. And he says, great, awesome. We will be very excited to have you this evening. And he hands you a flyer, gives you the same spiel. And so he looks around for a second, and he says, well, we usually accept teams of 3. So if you could find maybe one more person, of course, we can certainly make an exception. But if you can find one more person, why don't you bring them to this location in a few hours so that you can get ready and we can get you set up with our production team and we'll have you all ready for the big night. All you need to bring is yourself, your spirit, and a nice alias or costume. You may have them ready to go. You may take the day to think about them. I know it's pretty early, so you have some time to prepare.
Right you are, sir. Right you are. I'll be doing all of these things.
Great. Can't wait to see you, and very excited to have you at our next Multiversal Tournament of Champions. And he turns on his heel, and he walks out. There's flyers kind of spraying behind him from this briefcase.
I say, my friend, wasn't that exciting? Goodness gracious, what kind of ruthless aggression we can find. Sorry, allow me to reintroduce myself. Grantham Picklebottom Jr., and I genuflect, bring my leg forward, I bow my head, and I'm practically scraping the floor with my hand.
Reine Ilvaby. She attempts it, and she probably bunks you with her horns.
I say, well, those horns are quite something, aren't they? Did you say Reine Bevelby?
Ilvaby.
Ivelby. I'm terribly sorry, I'm terribly old, and I can't hear terribly well.
So as this is going on, I'm curious, where is Camilla at this point?
She's outside. You'll see her when you leave the guild hall.
Great. So as Vance mentioned, you have the rest of the day. As part of this, as part of this endeavor, a big part of this tournament will be costuming and coming up with an alias. So you two have the day to explore Niqamui and see, if there's anything that you would like to get up to as you are costuming.
I mean, there's something. Reine can probably smell what Camilla is doing outside. So she might grab a flyer and go outside the guild hall and try to recruit her.
So as you follow Vance outside, Camilla, you are outside the guild hall. What are you up to?
I'm standing with a tented cap on my head and a striped outfit. Picture a hot dog vendor, because that's what I'm doing. I've got a stand. It's got wheels. It's got steam. It's got buns. It's got hot dogs.
Great. So you are out here selling hot dogs, making a yummy meal, and you notice the silver-suited man walk outside of the guild hall, and he sniffs the air and walks over, and he puts down a couple of silver on the hot dog cart, and he says, yes, I'll take one of these. And as he does that, he hands you a flyer as well, and he says, Vance Mannheim, very nice to meet you. We are hosting a Multiversal Tournament of Champions this evening at the Eastinghouse Forum, and you look like somebody who is interested in concessions, and concessions means stadium, and stadium means Tournament of Champions.
Oh, the bigger the crowd, the more hot dogs I sell.
Precisely. And he gets in close, and he says, actually, do you have any experience with wrestling? We are looking for a third member of a team, and I just talked to a couple of people inside. I'm sure that since you hang around here, you probably know them. And I'm sure that usually we do teams of 3. That's kind of how we do things. All the rigmarole and that. And it would be great if we could get you signed on for this evening as a teammate. And you can see that Vance is kind of like. You can see when he goes into the spiel, he quiets down from his usual very loud, charismatic voice, and you can tell that he looks a little flustered.
Since Reine was on her way there, she would like pop out from behind him and be like, "You could use it as an opportunity to advertise your hot dogs or flying pans or extermination services."
I do not know what these other services are that you are mentioning, but a hot dog stand would naturally fit into a wrestling competition. A perfect place to advertise. I'm in.
Great. And so Vance, Vance kind of looks at Reine, who walks out, and he's, yes. So you do know each other. Oh, this is perfect. Even better. Wonderful. So the chemistry will already be there for the evening. Great. Well, I expect to see you at the Easting House Forum. Come to this door and this address, and he writes it on the back of one of your flyers. Be here by 6 p.m. this evening so we can get you set up and ready to go with our production team. And for reference, it is about 10 in the morning, so you certainly have time to go into town and explore, get any supplies that you may need, or if there's anything else that you would like to do, this would be a great time to do so.
Grantham is an old chap. He's followed behind, but he's a little bit late. He's missed the conversation. He comes around the corner saying, "I say, Whip, hot dogs!" And he goes straight up to Camilla and like, "Right, I want at least 3.
That will be 3 gold or 30 silver.
And I give her the 3 gold, and I just like, I don't know what to do with them. I've only got 2 hands. I'm like trying to cradle one in the elbow.
Oh, here, I will help you. And I give you a pyramid hot dog.
Oh,
The 4th one's on the house.
oh, my word. This is fabulous. It's very good. Oh, hello there, Reine. Oh, are we a team? Have we got a team?
It seems that way. We should probably brainstorm costumes, or maybe a theme, or I've never wrestled much. The last time I wrestled, I kind of got my butt kicked.
Well, let's see what is available at the costume store, because it all depends on what there is. So let's walk along, and as I push the cart, it rolls, and we can stroll down the street, making money as we walk to the costume store.
Sounds
Exactly.
perfect.
So as we kind of walk down the street, Camilla, how far would you say the costume store is from the guild?
Rolls a dice. 7.
So we are 7
minutes.
7-minute walk. So I will also roll a dice here. So as you walk, it's a pretty bustling day. Niqamui is definitely can be a busy city, and it's certainly there's certainly a good amount of people. So on the way, you end up making a good haul of 70 silver, 7 hot dogs, 1 per minute. And so you make it to the costume store. This is, in a normal looking storefront. It says sales costumes on the front. And inside is a very large, it almost looks like a dry cleaners, if you can imagine that. Just racks and racks of different costume things, different items from all different time periods. And, you can find anything from an evening gown to weirdly a lumberjack's outfit. And so there's all sorts of different costumes.
I go straight up to the evening dresses going, "Oh, well, goodness. I must say this material is fabulous."
But maybe also easy to pull in a wrestling match.
That's a very good point. I didn't think about that. So the evening dresses are out. Let's have a look here.
Oh.
Well, I tell you what. Maybe they do an alteration service. Maybe whatever we make, we can customize with a little bit of zing from this little evening dress. Get a few sequins in there, you know what I'm saying?
You notice a large, round man kind of walks up to you and he says, "Alteration service, yeah, we got it. I'm Sal, of Sal's Costumes. And we can do whatever you want. We have an alteration service in the back. We got a custom in-house tailor. We can certainly, we can whip something up. What are you looking for, my friends?"
A custom tailor? They have a custom tailor?
Of course we do. This is Niqamui, the land of opportunity. Of course we got a custom costume tailor.
This is exactly why I left the house. And I go straight over to the sportswear, see if there's anything athletic.
Oh, so Sal points you in a direction, and you notice you see several aisles of sportswear. So you see kind of your normal kind of workout gear, if you will. So different shirts and shorts and longer pants in different colors. You see some more niche outfits. So you see like one of those Greco-Roman wrestling leotards with the headpiece to it. You see some bathing suits. You see some more performance gear. You even actually, with this in the back, you see as part of a wall of accessories, you see like a parachute, just a straight up parachute.
Grantham is leafing through them, be like, "Oh, the singlet looks nice. Very good. Oh, wait, what am I thinking? We're fire-breathing kittens. There's got to be a kitten costume somewhere. Maybe a dragon costume, or a kitten-dragon costume, or a dragon-kitten costume. Sal, anything by way of dragons or kittens?"
Yeah,
a Dritten costume.
We got plenty of those. We have a section here for fire-breathing kittens. A lot of y'all come here for your various adventures. There's, we have a kind of a bargain bin, but all of this stuff, it has the logo on it, if you would like that. And so he points you to a section, and all of these, as you start rifling through these, you notice they all have the fire-breathing kittens logo. And they are like a felt piece that's stitched on. And some of these are embroidered in different places. And Sal, walks over and he says, "Well, we can put any of these insignias anywhere you want them. These are the floor models, but we can certainly whip something up pretty quick today."
Grantham turns around and looks over to Reine and to Camilla. It's like, "Oh, I'm getting choice paralysis. Give me some input here. Give me some guidance. I don't know what to do. I'm so excited."
Well, I guess we need something for our face, like a headpiece or something. Something easy to move in, where you can still beat people up. And then whatever else flashy thing, like a cape, I guess.
A cape? My lord. Oh, goodness. I could die.
You see Sal thinking for a second, hand on his chin, and he lights up and he said, "A cape, a headpiece. Oh, I see what's going on. Are you guys a part of this Multiversal Tournament of Champions that's coming through here?"
It seems we've just been signed up. Yeah, we're gonna be a 3-people wrestling team from, I suppose.
It's good that you say that, because we actually just had a bunch of people come through here. They were looking for costumes, so, I think I can do something for our little hometown heroes. Here's what I ask of you, though. If I put a little advertisement on there somewhere, just advertising Sal's Costumes, I'll give you a little bit extra. Would that be something that you're interested in?
Do it. Fantastic. Put it right on the backside.
We'd love to see that.
I expected Camilla to jump at that.
And so Sal thanks and he says, "Well, how about 150 gold for
One sec, Sal. My friend here is being a little quiet. I want to check in with her. Camilla, what are you thinking?"
So secretly, Camilla has way more money than she could ever do anything with. She's got a goose that lays golden eggs, some of the time at least. And so like she's, when you find that something that brought you joy doesn't bring you joy anymore. So when someone says 150 gold, and she like made that in the past day of hot dog sales, and like her goose already has like $1,000 for her if she goes back and checks on it. And she just like looks at you and she's like, Jess, I would like 150 gold. And she just sounds sad, like instead of happy.
Oh.
Hey, we need money, right?
Yes, 150 gold to pay for these costumes. I tell you, I've plenty. I come from. I don't know if you know this, but I come from wealth. I reach into my pouch and I look through. I was like, I think I've got maybe about 85 pieces on me. I mean,
wait, is he paying us 150 gold to sponsor us because we're going to be wearing an ad for his store?
Yes.
Oh, that's right.
Are we paying? Yeah.
Oh, we're getting paid for the sponsorship.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Ah, I thought that was the cost of the costumes. Oh, well. In which case, Grantham's like, oh, yes, add it to the pile. What the hey?
Yeah, so like, we're making 150 gold, and I look like, it's just more money, but that's weird for me. But yeah, I guess it sounds like in universe Grantham's saying that he just met everyone, so maybe you don't recognize that. You're just, you don't know what I used to be like. Okay, so sure, I will accept money for you to put your Sal's costume advertisement on me. And I've got a pretty standard hot dog selling vendor striped shirt on, but I'll accept. You do custom alterations, right?
Of course we do. We can, what time are you looking to have these by?
2 hours?
2 hours. Oh yeah, we could do 2 hours. So why don't you go ahead? You know what? I got something nice for you. I'll have something for you within 2 hours. Actually, you know what? Even better. I'm gonna make sure that these are set up. These are sent over to the Eastinghouse Forum so that you don't even have to come back. You could spend the rest of the day doing whatever you need to do. Training, stretching, whatever you fellas do. And then you'll show up, and I'll make sure that the team, that the forum, the team, whoever is in charge, that they have the costumes and they get them to you.
Okay, and I give you a second hot dog vendor uniform because you got to have a second work outfit, and that was in the cart.
Of course.
For you to alter.
All right, I'll put this one. I'll take care of this one too.
And I want to hear what you guys ended up with. What were the costumes that Reine and Grantham went with in the end that are getting altered to have Sal's custom costumes on the back? On the butt, actually, according to Grantham. I mean, that's where people are looking. That's where the ad should be.
True.
Exactly. Let's be honest. When people are wearing tight clothing, no one went to the ballet and didn't look below the waist. You know what I mean?
So what's the costume that you guys are?
Well, the costume I'm going to go for, I'm going to get one of those wrestling singlets. I'm going to get one of those strappy college ones, the ones for the sort of NCAA championships. And going to have a headgear. Looks a little bit like headphones, but it's kind of straps under the chin and covers the ears so they don't get cauliflowered. And I'd like to remind you that I'm an old man, 5'7", 72 years old. I'm struggling I'm not putting it on yet, but it's basically an old-fashioned wrestling singlet with knee pads, long boots, and yes, along the back. It's an advertisement for Sal's, and then again along the shoulders, and then again along the solar plexus, and then down each leg.
Strangely enough, Reine only picks out a headpiece with like 2 holes on the top, and like a shortish cape, but that's like still a lot too big for her. Like both items just seem too big for her.
Her current form.
Whatever shall that mean? And Camilla, you said you're giving Sal the work outfit?
Yep, outfit number 2.
Great. So Sal takes these 3 and he puts them on a counter and he says, all right, I will take care of these and I will send these over to the forum and I will make sure that that all is taken care of. The invoice will be with that. You have 30 days to pay, as is per usual, because of course, that's how businesses work. You don't pay at point of sale. You pay up to 30 days after transaction. But I know you fire-breathing kittens. You all are pretty good people. So I'm not too worried.
Hey, I thought this was a sponsorship.
Yeah, take it out of our cut.
We'll figure this out. I got to see how much time, man hours, the deal. I'll calculate and we'll make it work.
Economics.
And
Dependent upon the quality of advertising given.
Yes. And so Sal kind of walks back into a back room with the clothes. And yes, so the rest of the day is probably pretty quiet, unless there's anything that you guys would like to take care of before heading to the Eastinghouse Forum, which is a very large stadium right in the middle of Niqamui. It is branded all over with the primarily the Eastinghouse Company logo, which is a prominent technological invention company. They like to have their names on things. And so it's big building. You can't really miss it. But if there's anything that you would like to take care of between now and going to the stadium, now would be a good time to do so.
Do any of you have martial arts experience?
Of course not. I am a hot dog vendor.
And I've seen plenty of martial arts. Boxing, wrestling, mixed martial arts, kung fu, karate, jiu-jitsu, judo, capoeira. Never actually tried it myself, though.
I was pondering maybe we should train a bit. I'd have someone in mind who might be able to tutor us, but we'll have to look for something to give him in return.
Oh, let's do that.
Does he like? He sounds like a guy. You said him in return. Does he like hot dogs?
Probably not.
Oh, I have a vegetarian hot dogs too.
Depends on what kind of vegetarian.
Okay, does he like a bloodwurst?
Probably.
Very vegetarian.
You guys both talked at the same time and I missed it. But there's literally a thing called a blood sausage that is, if you're interested.
Yeah, Blutwurst. It's not. It's special. There's like I'm not sure if it's German or Austrian, but there's like a dish that's literally just like a plate of blood with very not usual meat parts in it, and it's just like, why does this exist?
For the vampire friend that you need to train you in wrestling.
Oh, he's a vampire. I just put that together. I'm so sorry. I'm new to this.
That was out of character. Yeah. I know that she's talking about Cameron, right? Yeah.
I mean, he's like 2,000, 3,000 something old. No idea. He probably knows some stuff, but he will not do it for free. So I guess we should look for magic plants or something.
Well, I frankly, like, I'm old enough that my stuff's probably a vintage. So maybe we cut a little deal. Give us a little bit of an inside track. I donate a pint or two. I'm sure that won't affect how I play how I wrestle.
He'd probably like that, but he's trying to like not.
Oh, he's trying to reform.
He's trying to create blood vegetables.
Oh, excellent. I loved it. Well, hey, I've got a great big estate that I can grow things with. Maybe there's a business opportunity here. We could definitely bring something to this Cameron character in return for a little bit of martial arts training.
He probably does not have a lot of land, so that's probably a good thing to barter with.
Absolutely, a trade deal. It's the pickle-bottom way.
Land is the thing that this is the ultimate goal of having money?
Yes. It's not about how much you spend, it's about how much you save. Or rather, no, I've got that wrong. It's not about how much you earn, it's about how much you invest. So once you have money, the trick is to invest that money, and then your money makes money, and the world is entirely yours. Again, pickle bottom and entirely.
Okay. So where do we think we would be able to find Cameron at this time of day?
Outskirts of Niqamui, probably, because Reine brought home she sleeps outside. Reine brought back a hystricid in blood letting it go. And she needs help to feed it because it needs like 10 liters of blood a day. So they're kind of like
the GM for that episode said gallons. You can keep your hystricid if you can provide it with 10 gallons of blood a day. Just tell me the source.
So apart from convenient bandits and poachers and whatever else, they buy horse blood, and Cameron tries to see which kind of because he's like an alchemist and a horticulturist. He tries to see which kind of vegetables the thing will eat because that's like a big thing, is like the taste.
I see. So I am just going to time skip this if that is okay with the group.
Totally. I just wanted to be prepared.
Great. So so the group heads to the outskirts. They're able to meet with Cameron, and they are able to get some, get a trade deal, get something going. In return, there is some, some training that happens, of course, and the minor hike from basically the center of the city all the way to the outskirts and then back again to the forum. That certainly gets the blood flowing. So, as you all walk up to the forum, certainly later in the day, already you can see that there's a pretty big hubbub around there. There's all sorts of vendors outside selling different shirts, and Grantham, you definitely notice, since you are a fan of the Multiversal Tournament of Champions, you definitely notice some wrestling names. So you see one little cart here out in the square in front of the building. You see one that's almost made like a cemetery. So there's a couple of little gravestones out there, and they're selling merchandise for Gravedigger, which is one of the popular champions here. You see one where it looks like there's just a guy standing in the middle of the square, just with nothing around. But all of a sudden, he pulls out a shirt and hands it to a customer. You see one that almost looks like a small mountain with a snow-capped tip, and you see a guy wearing a big parka who's selling a pair of furry earmuffs.
Wait. Okay, so I'm a bit lost. We got Grave Guy. We got Parka Guy. We've got... Are these all guys? What's going on?
Yeah, these are all...
Okay. Vendors.
Yes.
Parka Guy. Okay, how many vendors are there?
You see about 8 or 9. Okay.
So that was Grave Guy, Parka Guy. Did I miss any? I'm not as fast at writing as I am at listening.
Yeah. I'm just noting some of the popular ones. There are... It looks like, out of all of these vendors, they fall into one of 8 or 9 different camps. They're all very over the top, I guess is the word.
I lay eyes on the cemetery facade, and I go over to the cart. Oh, guys, look. This is for the Gravedigger. He's one of my favorites. Oh, he's very good. Oh, such a showman.
You see a shopkeep who is dressed up in almost what looks like zombie makeup. So he has a very pale, full face of makeup done. He's standing in this kind of small corrugated metal hut. And there's all sorts of merchandise. So there's t-shirts, there's sweatshirts, there's shorts, there's coffee mugs, there's little buttons, all sorts of cool little interesting trinkets. And just from, taking a look around as you're kind of walking through this square to the specific location that Vance wrote down on the flyer, you can see that a lot of these vendors are selling similar items. And yes, and you are kind of able to tell that this is probably the competition or advertising for the competition.
I go over to the vendor straight away. I'm like, I want one of those buttons. Give me a button.
You see he looks at you and just in a very monotonous voice, he says, "That will be 10 gold, please."
10 gold? That's a... Fine. And I throw 10 gold at his face and I take the button.
He turns around and he gives you a nice button. And it's about the size of your palm. And it has a picture of the Gravedigger, who looks very similar to the man. Big. It's kind of like a portrait from the shoulders up. So very thick neck, big head, clad all in kind of white makeup. You can see sunken eyes, and they have red pupils. And then over the top, in kind of gaudy, kind of green oozy lettering, you see Gravedigger spelled across the top of the button.
I look at this dish-sized button, and I'm looking at it thinking, like, where am I going to pin this? I start like trying to find areas on my shoulders or my arms, and eventually I settle upon just like the tummy. I just pin it right to the tummy like a sort of Teletubby.
Amazing. So as you guys are taking a look at the shops, you see somebody in a just kind of a normal, a t-shirt and pants. But Reine, I need you to give me a skill check to recognize the logo on this person's shirt, because it is very familiar to you.
Do I draw new cards, or do I just take the draw that's already there?
You can do either.
That's a jack and a joker.
Okay, so that's going to be an 11. But since this is familiar, you recognize this logo. It looks very similar to the logo of the Consent Creamery, which is interesting because that's not something you'd expect to see here. But the person kind of looks around and spots the three of you and kind of waves themselves over, and they say, are you the team from Fire Breathing Kittens that's going to be participating in this evening's tournament?
Do I recognize the person too, or just the logo?
No, just the logo.
Who wants to know?
I'm the executive producer of this evening's festivities, and I would love to show you to your dressing room so that you are able to get ready, and I can give you a rundown of what the evening is going to look like.
Of course, yeah, thank you. Just a quick question. Is this event sponsored by Consent Creamery?
You see the person kind of cock their head. Consent Creamery? I don't think I've heard of that one. Is that a common, a common sponsor around these parts?
And they're saying that while wearing a t-shirt that says Consent Creamery on it?
It doesn't say Consent Creamery, but the logo looks very similar.
Oh.
Maybe they rebranded, or they're sneaking in or something.
The producer just kind of shrugs and says, "Well, if you'll follow me, I can show you to your dressing rooms, and I can take you through what the evening's going to look like." And they motion for you all to follow and start walking around the back of the stadium.
Grantham looks over to Camilla and to Reine and kind of shrugs and kind of waits for them to respond.
I finish selling a hot dog and then I follow.
Oh, Grantham, by the way, is still working on his hot dogs. He's about halfway through the third one, just like slowly eating them over the afternoon.
Oh yeah, I mean a pyramid of hot dogs is quite the feat.
Certainly. Yeah. So the producer, as you guys start to follow, the producer starts taking you through the evening. So they say, so there's going to be multiple rings set up, but this one, your fight is going to be the exhibition match. So once all of the kind of beginning fights are over, we're going to call you up, and you are going to have an opportunity. One by one, we'll call you up, and you'll have an opportunity to present yourselves, gain the crowd's favor. You can do whatever you want. Maybe you want to do a display of power or some cool magic. You could do a speech. You could start some drama with between yourself, between any of the other, call out the audience, any of the other fighters, maybe. Everything is available to you to get that crowd, because that's what we're going for here is crowd favor. At the end of the day, this is, physical, but at the end of the day, we want to put on a show. We want to make people happy, and that's what we are. That's what we're aiming for this evening. So after you make your introduction, we will call up a roster of our champions, our in-house champions, to perform the exhibition with you. And once that is all set, you'll have some time to kind of banter back and forth. And as the producer is explaining this, you guys are walking through the building, kind of through some back hallways. And so there are some doors. And you know what? I would like all of you to do one more skill check just to see what you see.
So this means we draw 2 cards. Sorry, this is different than the Lucas base game. So we draw 2 cards and we just tell you what 2 cards we drew?
Yes.
Okay. I drew a king and a jack.
Okay, so that's a 20. That's one away from a critical success. So that's good to know.
I got a king and a 6.
Okay, so that's going to be a 16, also very good.
I got an 8 and an ace.
Okay, and so all of you did very well. You're very perceptive, and maybe it's because of Reine's kind of hesitation when looking at this person, but you guys are on watch, and you notice. So in the back, there's a back way to a section of VIP suites that are so VIP that they are a separate entrance from the whole rest of the people. So this is the cream of the crop. And you notice 3 names that stick out to you. So you notice on a piece of paper under this VIP list, you notice 1 E Diabolo, you notice 1
no.
R Joiner, and you notice 1 M Picklebottom. And so on this sign you see
wait. E Diabolo. I gotta write this down. M Joiner.
R Joiner.
R. Oh, wait. How's that spelled?
Joyner.
Okay. And I heard a gasp at the other one. What's that?
M Picklebottom.
M Picklebottom. Got it.
Grantham sees the name Picklebottom, and he gasps and walks over to it, and he just stares at the name for a bit, like, what? Huh?
The producer notices this and kind of turns around and says, "Well, your dressing room's right here, but is there something wrong?"
No. Everything's fine. Everything's fine. I mean, what are the chances, really? There are plenty of Picklebottoms. Well, there are plenty of Picklebottoms. Who's to say that my sister is here? Let's hope. Let's go to our dressing room. What do you say, folks?
The producer just kind of looks at you and again kind of shrugs and is just like, "Well, yes, the Picklebottoms are." The Picklebottom Shipping Company is actually one of the main sponsors of tonight's event.
They are? What? I didn't even know that. Oh, God, my father's estate. Really? I mean, I just find it hard to keep track of sometimes. I'm sorry, everyone. I don't mean to go into my own little monologue here. I just, I'm flummoxed and bamboozled.
The producer kind of looks at a watch that they have, and they said, "Well, you do have a second. You may have a couple minutes to look around. Once you get set up. It is 6 p.m. We wanted you here a couple hours before your fight, so you have a couple hours if you do want to look around. technically as performers, you are able to get up there if you would like. As the VIPs especially, they love when our performers mingle with them in between their fights, and so we tend to let them up there. So if you would like to do so, the staircase is right here.
So you are saying that these names on these doors, perhaps they want to get beat up by us on stage?
Well, not
Just
necessarily beat up on stage, but they're...
Can we beat them a little bit? Because I have recognized one of the names on the door, and I'm just like, we can punch them maybe, put them in a hold. They like that up on stage. Is that their VIP treatment?
Well, they are here in the suite, but some of our guests are maybe a little eccentric. They may, if they do want to do like a demonstration, it's happened before.
Oh man, there's an evil glint in her eye. Like, that wouldn't be half bad. All right.
So the
okay.
Oh, sorry, GM, you go ahead.
Oh, I was just going to say the producer kind of funnels you into the room, and in this room, it's decently sized. So each of you have a vanity with your names on top, and on each of these little counters, you see the costumes from Sal's, and each of them has a little note. Good luck with a thumbs up, signed Sal.
I take my card and I excitedly point it to the other ones, not knowing they've got the exact same card. But I show it to them like, look at that. Isn't that nice? I like Sal. He's a good egg.
Reine also gets excited about a turnout and I'm happy about it.
I'm just like, what is my life as I hold up this hot dog costume with a big Sal's across the butt? And I'm like, yep. hey, Jess.
Grantham doesn't hesitate for a second. He starts climbing into his singlet, pulling the straps on over his arms and up and upon his shoulders, and back again with the other arm, and it's all a bit snug. And he's a very old man.
Thank you for having us imagine what that looked like.
Of course. So he's got his cane, he's got his boots on, his knee pads, and he's just looking in the mirror, just sort of pinching the cheeks, trying to get a little bit of color in there. He struggles to put his glasses on with the headpiece as well, but he kind of fiddles with it, trying to get the arms of the glasses into the earpieces, and eventually kind of gives up and sort of puts the glasses down on the vanity, and he just starts blinking into the mirror, trying to get clarity.
So as the three of you kind of get ready and get your costumes on, kind of, and as you do so, you can tell these are well tailored. Sal took good care of you. And so there is also in the room there's a clock with a large countdown in addition to the clock, which is counting down until call time. And you notice that you have once you guys are all set and ready, you have about an hour to look around. But we will get to that in the next part. So, how do I end this? Yes. Joining us for joining us for part one were Reine.
Woo.
Grantham.
See you in a minute.
And Camilla.
Bye.
And before we go on our break, here's a review that we had on iTunes. I absolutely love this podcast. It's for both TTRPG fans and those who've never played before, because honestly, it's just excellent storytelling. Lots of fun, and hijinks, and humour as well as drama. Different stories and games as well, something for everyone. Thanks very much, Ice Rice Helen, and if you leave us a review on iTunes, we will read it on the air as well.
Bye.
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 Today's mid-episode shout-out is from Joseph George 5701, who says, quote, "Shout out to Dion." I might be pronouncing that right. It's DEON. Dion, Dion. African violet, I see you in the wind. Subtle, beautiful, the sun captures you from bloom to stem. End quote. That was very nice. Aw. You can arrange for us to read your shout out at firebreathingkittenspodcast.com. We also have books for you to read on Amazon and audiobooks for you to listen to on Audible. Just search Fire Breathing Kittens, that part is all one word, space podcast. And lastly, we don't pay to advertise our show, so the only way people can learn about us is if they're told about us by a friend or an enemy who doesn't like 3 hours of their time. I don't know. Anyway, so for a variety of different motivational reasons, apparently, tell people about us. Thanks.
And that's the bottom line, 'cause Stone Cold said so.
All right. Welcome back to part 2 of the episode. So we've all rolled some dice, and let's share our numbers so we can see who recaps the first part.
A D20?
Yeah.
All right, 7.
5.
19.
The number was 14. And so if my math is correct, Grantham, that is going to be you.
Okay, so we began our adventure at the guild hall of the fire-breathing kittens, where Grantham and Reine were just idly looking through the notice board, looking at the flyers, when all of a sudden, out from nowhere, Vance Mannheim, executive producer and showman of the Fiddlesticks, the Multiversal Tournament of Champions, came forward and offered a place for a new team from the Fire-Breathing Kittens Guild. Reine and Grantham quickly became fast friends, went outside and spotted that Camilla was selling hot dogs outside and talking to Vance Mannheim herself. We then formed a triumvirate of excellent wrestlers, surely soon to be. We went on over to Sal's custom costumes and got our fabulous outfits, went over to the forum, and after Grantham bought several hot dogs and other things, they then went into the stadium and over to their dressing room, into their costumes, via the VIP room with a few familiar names on the doors. Quite upsetting for certain characters to see on the VIP list not only E. Diablo, our joiner, but also M. Picklebottom. We were just getting ready for our first moment in the tournament when we took our break. So that's where we take off now.
Perfect. And that's exactly where you find yourselves, in the dressing room. The clock that gives a countdown to call time gives you about a little over an hour. So you have that time to explore. Because of the very high skill checks that you made at the end of the last part, not only do you know, did you see those 3 names, but you also noticed a map to get to those specific suites if you decide to climb the stairs. So you are able to find those without spending all that much time.
So we're in our dressing rooms?
Yes, you are in your dressing room.
Okay. I look around for free stuff.
Yeah, this is certainly the Eastinghouse company. They certainly spared no expense within that dressing room. There's all sorts of, it's just the 3 of you, but there are food tables. You see some various merchandise that's just around. You see some kind of generic Tournament of Champions gear. All sorts of good stuff. And it seems that it's all nicely, at least the merchandise is all nicely packaged for you to take back once your evening is complete. It looks almost like a goodie bag, like a thank you.
Nice.
Considering E. Diablo is in the stadium, I guess Reine would put on her wrestling stuff also, aka is there like a rack of clothes kind of like where she could just go behind?
Yeah, there are certainly areas to dress.
She would go into one of those and come out as like a 7'6" werewolf, like a bipedal. werewolf or like a Chatloup, so her face is more like her face looks a bit more cat than wolf, and her horns are also still there. And her kind of coloring is the same as her hair, which is kind of like a darker gray that gets like lighter at the end of the strands. And she has this like this headpiece from before. The holes are kind of where her wolf ears go through at the top of the headpiece, and she just has like this cape kind of like around her shoulders and neck because everything else is fur anyway.
Would the wolf like a dog? And I reach out into the hallway because my cart didn't fit into the dressing room, and I get a hot dog for you.
I turn around, having finished my final and fourth hot dog with my mouth full, and what do you mean? And then I see the 7'6" werewolf that's just appeared in the room, scream out of my mind, and spit the last of the hot dog like on the mirror. Like, good golly, Reine!
It's okay. It's just like her voice is deeper, but I'm not going to talk in a deep voice the whole time.
Sure.
Just when it's like important. It's fine. It's just me. Don't worry about it.
I'm an old man. You can't frighten me like that. You will put me into an early grave.
Little old me could never. Little old.
And
You're 7 feet tall.
Grantham steps
Probably
forward
bumps
and
against the ceiling.
Grantham steps forward and gingerly puts her hand out. Like, can I feel you? And then sort of like bringing a hand forth to like your upper arm, just to sort of looking as if I want to stroke the fur of a cat or a dog, but it's you.
She
this
probably
okay?
she probably squat down so you can like kind of reach her head.
Wow. In which case Grantham's like sort of strokes the back of your head and like around your ear, like as if you're like a German Shepherd, and like I don't know. This feels
she
weird.
acts
This feels
exactly
strange.
like a German Shepherd.
Oh wow. Okay.
Like
So,
you hear like you hear the thumping of like the tail on the floor behind her.
oh, who's a good girl? Are you? Oh, I'm sorry. I'm not respecting your autonomy. I'm really sorry. It's just unusual for me. This is new for me. I'm sorry.
Sometimes I am really glad that our pets are not brighter.
So
She's
as you
just like,
guys,
I'm a good girl.
oh my. So as you are discussing and taking a look at Reine's kind of new form, you hear a knock on the dressing room door.
Maybe I shouldn't open, considering your reactions.
I've got to check on my hot dog stand. I open it up and I'm like making sure the knock isn't them like wheeling away my stand, and as the stand pivots, it knocks into the door. So I'm concerned.
It is not, but when you realize who is standing in front of the door, you almost wish it was. Standing in front of you is none other than Ramses Joyner. He is standing there in a very custom-made, what looks to be like a tuxedo or a very nice suit. And he...
My hand closes the door before my brain thinks about it.
As you go to close the door, he grabs the handle and he says, "Well, I apologize for barging in, but it would only take a second of your time, Miss." And he looks at you. You look familiar, but must be something.
Would you like Reine to come forward? Kind of like, the heavy steps, and I just like look over your shoulder.
My face is kind of blank, and my hand is still trying to close that door.
Grantham steps forward as well in his singlet, and his hands on his fists on his hips, and his legs apart, and he's wearing the Gravedigger badge on his stomach, and sort of stands next to Reine as if he's as intimidating.
So Ramses, he looks and he says, "Well, okay, I understand that you may want to prepare yourself for the evening, but I had a proposition if you're interested in looking to make a little extra money."
I'm now amused that he doesn't recognize me. Oh, Jess, I could always use more money.
Well, glad you think like I do. You see, I've been taking bets over the evening, and it seems that you three, as hometown heroes as it were certainly the crowd favorites, and so I am in a pretty good position when it comes to you winning. However, I have a proposition for you. If you throw the match, I will become a very rich man. And as such, of course, this is under the table, but I will make sure that you are paid much more handsomely than the prize pool would give you, even if you won. Let's say
we had a training montage. Reine is kind of like her furry bra is kind of like furrow, and she's kind of like, I want to throw you instead of the match, but she doesn't actually say it loud enough.
Well, yes, of course. Of course, I respect the spirit of the sport and training and all that, but I also respect the spirit of money, if you will, to be frank. I won't stay long. I can see that you are still preparing and getting ready for the evening, but just know, if that is an option, then you will be compensated quite handsomely. And Ramses kind of smiles and lets his hand go of the handle so the door kind of slams shut.
Money is not alive unless you enchant it, so if you're doing a seance to try and reach the money spirit, I don't think you'll get anything from it.
My friends are talking about money spirits. My ex-husband just knocked on my dressing room door and didn't notice who I was, thinking I was a hot dog vendor / wrestler. And my other friend is petting my German Shepherd friend's ears. So I'm just like, what is my life? Hold this dressing room door shut.
And Grantham's just adjusting his singlet.
So with that, is there anything you guys would like to do before call time here?
Have a midlife crisis?
Always an option.
I think Grantham would like to is going to pluck up courage, and he's going to go and knock on the VIP room door and see if he can speak to Monica.
Okay. Cool. So you kind of follow this map, and you walk up the stairs to this VIP room. And it's not necessarily a room, but it's a hallway with a collection of very large and opulent suites. And you can see all manner of wealthy people walking around. There's specific, there's concessions and sort of a main concourse. Then there's, two wings, with suites. And so where you are looking for. So you go to the end of one of these wings, and so each of these suites they don't have doors, they have glass that is just one single kind of pane of glass, and you see people walking in and out as if there was nothing there. And so you get to a suite that has a very large logo of the Pickle Bottom Shipping Company on it, and you see under that, you see a nameplate that says M Picklebottom.
I walk over to the emblem. I sort of rest a hand on it, sort of nostalgically, and then reading the name, I look left and I look right, and then I knock on the door with the handle of my cane. I've still got my cane on me.
So as you knock on the window, you see the face of your sister, Monica Picklebottom, come over, and you can see that she's having a good time, but then she sees you and the smile kind of drops from her face, and she holds the bridge of her nose and she sighs and she motions you to enter.
I enter, cane in hand, slowly limping along. Hello, Monica.
Forgive me for what I'm about to do to your accent.
I've full reign to get it wrong. Don't worry. If whatever you do is true.
Oh, Grantham, why are you wearing such a garish outfit?
Grantham looks down at his singlet. He adjusts the crotch a little bit just to try and get the legs are sort of uneven, like one leg is stretching down further than the other. It looks a bit wonky, like I'm trying to sort of even it out. Well, It's a funny coincidence, really. You'd
Monica,
find it funny.
So Monica kind of looks you up and down, and she just puts her head in her hands and says, "Oh, heavens, oh dear, please do not tell me that you are part of this."
Well, funny thing, Monica, I've always been a fan. And now that you've inherited the estate and everything, I'm sort of at a loose end. So I came to Niqamui, not really expecting to get involved in this sort of thing, but I got involved in something else, and that led me here. And really, I'm very excited to be here.
Of course, it's always something. You get involved, and you get involved, and now you are here wrestling with. I mean, look at them. They're brutes. You're going to get snapped like a twig.
I pick up my cane and I wave it in the air and I say, "There's not a muscle in the human body that can stop the heart of a picklebottom."
Oh, don't give me that. Look at you. You're about to make a fool of yourself. Why can I not have one evening to myself without having to look out for you and make sure that you do not get yourself killed?
The shame hits Grantham like a rock to the chest, and he sinks his head. His jaw just drops, and his head follows, and he's looking down at the ground, and he's gripping his cane with sweaty palms, and he just looks up and says, "I'm sorry that I've never made you proud, Monica. I know I never did that for Father either. And I'm doing this for me. I don't expect you to understand, but I feel like my life's been put on hold, and I'm ready to make my own legacy, not living in Father's anymore. And I know you're embarrassed by me, you always have been, but I'm hoping that maybe if you can get past the garish outfits, the pageantry, that at the end of today you might actually be proud of me, because I'm being me for the first time. I hope you can understand that."
Monica takes a beat, and she just thinks for a second, and she's just like, "Well, I suppose it is a noble enough cause. Please be safe, brother. I know that sometimes it seems that Father and myself, we're hard on you, but we're worried about you."
I wrap her up or Grantham wraps her in an enormous, slightly sweaty hug, and just gives her the strongest squeeze my brittle bones can handle.
She's caught off guard for a second, but then she returns the embrace, and after a second you separate, and she kind of pats you on the shoulder, and she says, "Well, if nothing else, you will be representing the Pickle Bottom logo, and if nothing else, this will be a good source of entertainment and hopefully business for the company. So thank you for that. Please stay safe and best of luck."
Thank you, Monica. And trust me, we're going to have so many stories at the end of this. You would believe who I've met already. Oh, I've eaten 4 hot dogs today, and that's just for starters, honestly. You wait.
You see, as you finish, you see kind of just the smallest of smiles cracks Monica's face, and she nods, and says, "Well, you must be time for you to get back and prepare, but I will be watching from up here." And she kind of pans out, and you're able to take a look at the floor. And so what you see, there are 8 small, like, wrestling rings, out on the kind of main floor of this stadium, spaced out in a square, and there's a large, what looks to be an empty space in the middle. And so on these, you can see spotlights, and you can see all sorts of wrestling and magic, and there's all sorts of, you look at one and you see there's like a fireball flying, and then you look at another one and you see that there's what looks to be almost like a hand coming out from under the wrestling match and holding somebody. Well, actually, you recognize as Gravedigger from your position, takes what looks like a headstone and poof, bashes it on this guy's head. And you see all sorts of, wonderful displays of magic and power. And you can hear the roar of the crowd from behind from within the suite.
I am agog. My eyes are wide. My smile is broad. My mouth is open. And I just go, oh, right. And then I pick up my cane, and then I saunter out of the room. I will see you when the lights are switched off. And I make my way back down to our dressing room.
Wonderful. Is there anything, Camilla and Reine, is there anything that you guys would like to check out while this is going on?
Reine would take a dog for a dog. She'll take you up on that offer, Camilla. She'll have a dog for a dog.
I give you a big old, you know how bratwursts are bigger than hot dog? Give you like an extra large one because you're 7 feet tall.
Nice.
And actually,
she will pay you for it.
I put the gold in my fanny pack.
One thing you notice, Reine, is that the ceiling is not meant for somebody for your height. So you're not completely crunched, but you have to lower your head as to avoid hitting the top of the doorway whenever you walk through places. So as you take your time, Grantham, you return to the dressing room and you take your time to settle yourself and, go over your plans. And the clock eventually winds down to 0. At that point, the same executive producer that you met, walks into the room and says, "Okay, it's time. Are you ready?"
Reine would notice the clock and kind of instinctively get up, bunk her head on the ceiling, and go ah. And then I guess duck out of the dressing room.
And Grantham has only just come back in again, so he sort of checks his pockets. He puts his keys somewhere safe, and he sort of dusts himself down, takes a deep breath, and follows Reine after.
And
Great.
A cart is wheeling along behind you guys. That's right. It's coming in the ring too.
Protect
Amazing.
us.
So you follow the producer through some more tunnels, and you get to what looks like a backstage area. So it's kind of hidden from the main floor, but you can see the lights, you can see the rings. And so as these last couple of fights are finishing up and you're waiting in the wings here, you notice that as the wrestlers vacate these rings, the 8 kind of smaller rings that you see lower down into the ground as the lights turn off. And you hear a mechanical whirring, and you can kind of see from this slightly illuminated standpoint that the small wrestling rings actually go down into the floor, that then opens up, and a single large wrestling ring begins to rise up. And as it comes up to the surface and locks into place, the lights turn on, and you hear Vance Mannheim's voice over the PA system. "And now, for the moment you've all been waiting for, the final exhibition between 3 hometown heroes and 3 Multiversal Champions." And the crowd erupts. You can hear it, and it's really electric. And so Vance continues from his point, and he says, "And now introducing your fire-breathing kittens. First up, an older gentleman with who's certainly ready to go. First, we have G Pickle." And the producer kind of ushers you on.
I look back and I say, "Wish me luck, everyone. I better not embarrass my sister." And then I step out in front of the curtain.
Reine gives you 2 thumbs ups.
The 7-foot-tall werewolf gives the 70-year-old man in an old school wrestling leotard thumbs up.
Grantham, the moment is yours. You walk out, and there looks to be a red carpet leading up to stairs going into the ring. How do you enter?
Okay, so what most people don't realize is that G. Pickle is a man of many hobbies, having basically never left the house and only really having a butler as his friend. So he has many little skills that he's picked up along the way through lonely practice. And so he clears his throat, and then he starts walking toward the ring, and then starts doing a freestyle rap on his way to the ring, as like maybe casting a little bit of thaumaturgy just to amplify his voice. He goes, "Yes, that's right. My name's G. Pickle. I'm extremely loyal. I'm definitely not fickle. I'm here to show all these people who's boss. And then you'll see I'm the man with the most of the toughness, the most of the strength. You're the one who's going the length of the ring and back again and onto my fist. And then you'll find the narrative twist. I'm gonna drop an elbow, then a knee, and then you're gonna suffer a pin from me. You're gonna tap out, lose, and lose again. And that's when G. Pickle wins in the end."
Oh, yay. Boots and cats and boots and cats.
I think at that, first of all, I myself am stunned. That was amazing.
Yeah, that's going in the trailer. That's the trailer.
Oh, yes. So, somehow you have, you're mic'd up, so you're very loud. Everybody can hear it. And, everybody is silent for a second and then just crazy. So here's what we're going to do. So as you all walk on, you are going to pull one card, and that is going to be the first round of combat. This is going to be your going towards the total crowd favor number. Because that was great, go ahead and pull with advantage. So pull 2 cards and take the highest value.
The highest value is 8. I pulled a Joker, which is valued 1, and an 8.
Great. All right. So, Grantham walks on the stage and he kind of gets in the ring, and crowd is going. So Vance comes back on the mic and says, "What a wonderful performance. Can't wait to see what more G. Pickle has in store. Next, we have an interesting fire-breathing kitten and wrestler. We have Camilla Benson, the woman, the myth, the saleswoman.
Appearing as Frank Furter. So I roll the hot dog stand up to the stairs, you said.
Yes.
And I push down on the stand so that the front wheels lift. And then I pull up on the stand so that the back wheels lift, and I go up the stairs one at a time, and it's very precarious. The crowd is like crickets.
So as you are entering the ring, you can also go ahead and pull a card to see what your bonus is going to be for this first round.
Can it be negative after that? It is a 3.
All right, it is a 3. So you hear some cheers.
The hungry people are like, over here.
Yeah, you see a bunch of people in the first row. A couple of people are a little confused, so they think that this is...
I throw out 3 hot dogs to the people in the front row.
Yes. And so those 3 hungry people in the front row, they are very happy. They're hooping and hollering. Everybody else is giving a nice little, you hear buzz. And so Vance comes on the microphone one more time and he says, "And finally, the heavy hitter of the group, we have Loopshador."
Reine kind of like gets down like on all fours and kind of like gallops up the stairs. Grabs a hold of like the ropes of the ring and kind of like tries and like pelt herself onto one of the like where the ropes and stuff are connected to, like one of the pillars.
Yeah,
turnbuckles.
Yeah. And she would like try and land there, kind of like, Spider-Man style. And we have different archetypes for our characters, and for Reine is playing a heel. And she will actually play that out. So she would go like You're looking for heroes? Here you'll find none. I'll tear your champions to shreds. And she'll kind of like try and agitate the crowd.
Yeah, you certainly hear, you actually hear a mix. So you hear some people cheering, you hear some people booing, and as you all know, as a heel, part of your job is to get the crowd angry. So you want to hear some boos. So this is good. So why don't you go ahead and you pull your card as well?
That is a king.
All right. So since this is technically a combat check, that's going to be 13. So you're definitely getting the crowd riled up. And you hear some boos, you hear some cheers.
Oh, yeah.
It's great. Everybody's having a good time.
She like howled very loud in the at the end.
You see actually some people, there are speakers all around, and you actually see a couple of people kind of cover their ears. You did a really good job with the howl. And so Vance, once again on the mic, after you've all entered and are in the ring, he says, "And tonight's challengers from our in-house Multiversal Tournament Champions. First, we have the Gravedigger." And so
Grantham,
from the other side,
squeeze.
And so from the other side, you see a very large man, probably about 6.5 at least feet tall, very built. I guess in pop culture terms, imagine like Solomon Grundy is what I'm envisioning. So very pale skin, sunken eyes, and the Gravedigger is wearing contacts. So his eyes are bright red. And as he kind of walks, he raises his hands, and you see a collection of, almost like a cemetery is being built in as he passes. So you see headstones rise up. You see a couple of zombified hands shoot out from the ground. And the crowd is just loving this. And so Gravedigger walks up to the stairs on his corner and just jumps right into the ring. You all feel the ring kind of shake a little bit. And he just stares at you wordlessly, cracks his knuckles, and is ready to go. So Vance gets on the mic and says, "Next, we have the Avalanche." And so you see, again, from this other side, you see an even larger figure, covered in fur, almost looks like more beast than man, just very big, hulking, walks, very slowly walking. And as he does that, the graves kind of disappear, and you feel an icy chill kind of push, kind of hit you, cold wind. And so he does the same. He walks up, and Gravedigger turns around, kind of grabs his hand, pulls him into the ring, and standing together, Avalanche has got to be probably 8 feet tall. And so the third person,
the 70-something-year-old man.
Yeah, and Grantham is holding his cane with both hands, just trembling, absolutely rapt with excitement.
You gonna die.
And because, so this is all random. I did not do this. I did not do this on purpose. And so third and finally, Vance says, "And rounding out the crowd, we have another hometown fire-breathing kitten, who a last-minute entry and was very interested in joining. We have, you know him, you love him, Norwich Flesh Ripper."
Yay!
And Reine, you've met Norwich before.
Yeah.
So he kind of walks out, and he's wearing the most garish getup you have ever seen. He's wearing a wig, a blonde mulleted wig that covers his normally orange hair. Also big guy, he's 7.5 feet tall. And so he's wearing similar getup to you, Grantham. He's wearing a singlet, but the singlet is covered in a strange what looks to be like a flag pattern. You certainly don't recognize it, but there are there's a blue area in the corner with some stars, and then there are some red and white stripes. He's wearing what looks to be work boots, and he's wearing sunglasses. And so he jumps in the ring. He actually jumps up, does a front flip, lands, and he takes a look, and he clocks Reine, and he says, "Oh, hey, good to see ya. Didn't expect to see ya here, but well, looks like we'll be facing off here."
Reine is trying to look mean and menacing, but her tail is wagging.
Aww.
Grantham is waving, and he presents out like, "Hello, Grantham Picklebottom Jr." And yeah.
"Oh, hey, nice to meet ya. Norwich Flesh Ripper. I'm sure we'll be working together soon. Usually we are on the same side, but I like to wrestle a little bit. You like to wrestle a little bit, so I thought I'd make an appearance."
Great. And I then go up to the Gravedigger, and I present my hand to him as like, "Hello, Grantham Picklebottom Jr. I'm an enormous fan."
He shakes your hand, very powerful, and he says, "Best of luck."
And my elbow hurts. I'm like, okay, great. And Mr. Avalanche, I presume. Grantham Picklebottom Jr. Present my hand to him.
Yeah, he not only does he shake your hand, he actually picks you up as he's shaking your hand. So he's shaking you more than your hand, but he says, "The Avalanche is excited to meet his challenger."
I land awkwardly and sort of try and find my balance with my cane. Okay. And I sort of hobble back to my corner.
And so Vance comes back on the mic and says, "Champions, are you ready to take your positions and begin the Multiversal Tournament of Champions?" And the crowd goes wild. Here it is. Okay. So the three wrestlers on the other side, they take their positions kind of in the corner. They're over here, they're flexing. But all of a sudden, Reine, you hear a familiar voice cut out from the audience that says, "Wait." And everybody looks, and from the ceiling, you see a figure jump into the ring. And as this figure steps into the light, Reine, you recognize this figure as none other than Sigrid Anderson.
She takes some steps back.
So Sigrid kind of smiles and says, "Well, I lost Finlow, so you and me, we're here. I'm looking to settle this here and now." And somehow, you don't know how, but she's mic'd up. So everybody the crowd can, it almost seems there's, magic going around that amplifies the voices of those in the ring. So the crowd has no idea what's going on, and they're just, it's insane. It's deafening, how strong the applause is. And so Vance, after a second, he gets back on, and you hear him, and he says, "Well, we don't usually do 4-on-4, but that being said, champions of the fire-breathing kittens, you will be allowed one ally." And so from your side, you hear you hear theme music, but you actually don't see anybody.
Do 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 do.
And
yes.
Grantham goes to Camilla and is like, "I've not got my glasses on. Can you see anything?"
I'm looking around.
So you see things kind of moving as if there was a person there, and you feel a figure move into the ring, but you still don't see anything until you hear a whoosh, like a crack almost, and there is a well-built man that Grantham you would recognize as Jim Visible.
Wow! Oh my goodness! I hand on my hand together. Grantham Picklebottom Jr. I'm terribly excited to be wrestling with you, sir.
He kind of claps you on the back, and he's just like, "Well, wasn't expecting to be out here, but looking forward to fighting with you."
And Grantham just takes a second to look around and see the enormous people across the ring, the absolutely towering figures that are surely going to kill him. And looking over at our motley crew, and just the biggest smile crosses his face. It's like, this is why I left the house.
And with that, you hear a bell ding, which signifies the wrestling match has begun. So what we're going to do is we are going to pull for initiative. And so each of you are going to pull a card, and from those cards, we are going to add that together for a total value. So I'm just going to put those up here. For the listeners, we have a virtual card table, which is helpful for games such as this when not playing in person.
So, okay, I see. The cards are going to each person.
Yeah.
Are you drawing us all a card?
Oh, do you want me to draw?
No, I don't know what's going on. I see cards moving around. There's no hand shown. Okay, cards are being placed in front of me. I don't know what's going on.
Okay.
Yeah, I can't.
Are we all drawing a card each?
Yeah, and then just putting it in the middle.
Okay, there's 2 cards in front of me.
And then I'm drawing for the other side.
Cool.
Okay, wait. So we're each drawing a card, right?
Yes.
Okay, so I'm going to draw this card. It's a 3.
Okay.
All right.
Great. I'm just going to
this
put
card.
that there.
I know you guys drew me like an 8 and an ace, which was very helpful. Thank you. It's just like, I don't know which one to keep. So.
All right.
Well,
so I don't need to do math. I can already tell that your side is going first.
Yeah, everyone else drew like a queen and a king and then had a 3. And...
Yes. So that is so it looks like as both sides kind of run to the middle, the fire-breathing kittens are up first, and that is going to start. I'm just going to go in order here. Going to start with Camilla. You have the first move, so to speak. And
The first
just as
dog
a reminder,
is yours.
And so just as a reminder, these are all going to be combat skill checks. So they work similarly to regular skill checks, but instead of all face cards being a flat value of 10, we go above 10. And so you're still going to draw 2 cards, and that is going to determine the success of whatever move you decide to do. It could be a combat move. It could be an intimidation move. It could be a taunting move. Anything you want. But Camilla, the floor is yours.
I have a question.
Yes.
I am what's called a loose cannon. So my power is that once in the match, I force the entire other side to redraw after they've drawn their cards, right?
Yes.
What are you guys' powers?
I am a face, which means that I draw with disadvantage, but whatever my final number is doubled.
I'm
Nice.
the opposite. I am a heel, and I draw with advantage, but my cards only count for half.
Ooh. All right. Are the other people here also powered? I guess we'll find out when they use their powers against us. Awesome.
I guess we will.
I just like mine is the sort of thing that if I don't announce this, it's going to sound really weird to listeners later when I'm like, no, you didn't draw that. Redraw. But like now you got that, it's coming. At what point will I make the entire opponent team redraw their hand? So it's better to announce that beforehand. Chekhov's redraw. So it's coming. Okay, so my move, because I am Frankfurter, the hot dog vendor, is first I got to bend over and show everybody Sal's.
Of course. Got to get that advertising in.
Got to. And then as I raise up, I have hot dogs in my hands because I was bending over to get hot dogs. And they're fully, of course, they've got everything on them. They've got mustard, they've got ketchup, they've got onions, they've got relish, they've got sauerkraut, they've got a little bit of fresh cabbage. Not pickled cabbage, fresh cabbage. They've got everything you could possibly want on a hot dog. Is there bacon on this hot dog? It's up to you to imagine. And it's these fully loaded hot dogs in both hands. And I'm throwing one at the Avalanche because they seem tall. And I think a ranged attack is the way to go for an 8-foot tall person. And one at the Gravedigger. And I'm like hurling hot dogs. So it says a ranged attack is attack with a ranged weapon is you would play clubs plus spades. So I don't know. We don't have a hand in this expansion. I don't know
correct.
how this works. Do I draw a hand? Do I have 8 cards like I would in the base game?
No. So the suits are agnostic of the move. You just draw 2 cards, and those will be you just use the number as a success or a fail.
So everything in this game is just draw 2 random cards?
Yes.
All right, an 8 and a 9.
Great. Keep those up with you, just because there are going to be bonuses once everybody draws that I will talk about. So with an 8 and a 9, you throw these hot dogs, one at the Avalanche and one at the Gravedigger, and you can see that for a second they're baffled by what just assailed them, but that bewilderment is overtaken by hunger as they realize what they have in front of them, and they begin chowing down on these delicious hot dogs.
Oh, no.
And it seems that you may have opened the way to distract them for long enough for one of your teammates to get a move in. That is going to be Grantham.
Grantham is already, but before the hot dogs are even flying, he's moving toward the Avalanche, the towering 8-foot-tall Yeti, and has just enough time to say, "I'm a really big fan!" And then he takes a swing at him with his cane. So he's taking a swing at his left knee with the cane.
Oh, we love it. All right, let's see that skill check.
It's a 5 and a queen.
All right, and so since this is combat, queens are going to be worth 12. So that is going to be another 17. So yeah, expertly timed as Camilla goes and flings these hot dogs. The Avalanche is chowing down and barely even notices Grantham as he swings the cane into the knee of the Avalanche, which buckles and he drops to one knee. This is going very well thus far.
Oh, hold up. Sorry, hold up.
Yes.
I have to draw with disadvantage.
Oh, yes.
So that
Dun, dun, dun.
dun dun dun. Okay, so that's the first hand.
Yep.
That's the second hand. Oh, dang it. Oh, it still does. It was the lower number anyway. So sorry. Please continue.
Okay, great. Yeah. So you see, Avalanche drops to a knee and says, "The Avalanche was not expecting somebody so small to be so powerful."
And also, because I'm a face, the lower number is doubled, so actually the total amount of crowd favor I've won is in fact 34. Is that right?
That is correct.
Nice.
So you see the crowd at this, this old, kind of smaller man spring forward and just hit his cane, and actually Avalanche drops to one knee, is unbalanced and falls face first on the ground. And as he's pulling himself up, the crowd, you can tell, is super hyped. So this is very good. Reine, we are going to pass to you this time.
Reine is still a bit shaken, but she's looking at her friends from Fire Breathing Kittens. It's just going through her head how she started running away from all of this, and ever since she joined the Fire Breathing Kittens, she's got close with Cameron again. She's made so many friends who supported her. She got beat up together with Chico and Camilla, but different name.
We've never met before.
Never met before. She got beat up with Chico and someone who looked mildly similar to Camilla. And she made that promise to get stronger and to stand up against these people. And now she's got her horns back too, and she's gonna clench her fists kind of, and then do an aggressive kind of howl, and then she'll just charge at Sigrid.
Yeah. All right, let's see that skill check. And as a heal, you're going to draw with disadvantage, you're going to draw with advantage, but your card value is halved. Okay, so it looks like we're going to take the 4 and the king, which is going to be 17, halved down to 9. So you spring forward and, well, you know what? you narrate this one. What does this look like? Because you and Sigrid have a history. So what does that look like?
Seeing Reine charge, Sigrid would probably be taken aback for just like a millisecond, and then probably also turn into like this werewolf form, except her fur is kind of like more blonde whitish. And when this like massive first wolf like comes charging at the other one, there's just this like really loud and heavy kind of like thud, and they like clink horns together and like kind of like grasp each other's hands and like try to overpower the other with like sheer strength.
Yeah. And, you know, again, the crowd has no context, so they're seeing this as part of the show. They're loving it.
Loop-garoo, loop-garoo, loop-garoo.
And you know, you see Sigrid just kind of struggling against you, not quite expecting this surge of power, to be honest. So things are looking good for you. And meanwhile, you've noticed that Jim has gone out of sight, but he is going over to. You see Norwich struggling with something unseen that you can assume is Jim, and you see Norwich kind of fall to the floor, and he's just like, oh, this is a good one. This is tricky. I got to put my glasses on for this, even though he's already wearing sunglasses. And so at this point, I'm going to move these cards over here. So I'm just taking a look. I don't see any bonuses. So now bonuses are, so in addition to kind of this blackjack scoring system, we have, for skill checks, we have bonuses that are taken from all the players once all of the hands are drawn to try and make the best 5-card Texas Hold'em poker hand. So things like straights, flush, royal flush, all that good stuff. And depending on what we see, if there are any, of these hands within the, right now we have 4 players. So, so within the 8 cards, pick the best out of 5. If there are any bonuses, there would be extra crowd favor. However, there are no bonuses, so there is no extra crowd favor. But because you pulled more than 50 in a round, the crowd is especially hyped up. And so the next round, you all get advantage when it comes to pulling cards. So as the fire-breathing kittens go and create this initial assault, the crowd is enthused, especially so. And because of that, the next round, so the next enemy round and the next your round, are going to be doubled. So the crowd is very excited as Gravedigger goes. And Grantham, you saw this earlier when you were looking out of the suite. You feel your legs come up from under you as a hand wraps around your body, and actually it's a double team. So Gravedigger, this hand appears and grabs you as Avalanche jumps and just both arms, almost like a Donkey Kong, just hits you as you are grabbed. And meanwhile, Norwich is wrestling with Jim Visible, and the two of them are locked in what looks to be a pretty tough brawl. And Sigrid, you see she takes her leg and she flips it around and catches your ankle, Reine, and sends you toppling to the floor. So I'm going to put in these values really quick. And so I will say, there's no defined health. What players track in terms of health being knocked out is the number of times that they were hit. So Grantham, for you've been hit twice. On this thing, you can see on the left there's a scorecard, and there's a place where you can add or subtract values. You can use those as your counter. Just note the number of times you've been hit, and if you get a combat skill check that goes under that value, you are considered knocked out and out of the round for that piece. However, Reine, as Sigrid kind of trips you, she drew Joker, which in combat is a critical fail. So, because of that, she ends up being unsteady and she falls with you, and you are able to turn the tide. And so instead of her kind of falling on top of you and getting the better leverage, you actually end up falling on top of her, and you have her in kind of a pin. So with that, there are no bonuses here. And with that, that is going to go back up to Camilla. It is you. You see that a lot of people are kind of tangled in other people, and the melee is certainly on.
The melee is on. This gives me an excellent chance to smear some hot dogs in people's faces. In my left hand, I have a hot dog with jalapenos, chili, cheddar cheese, a little bit of salsa, and sriracha sauce. And that gooey, it's got caramelized onions too. Oh man, it's honestly delicious. This ooey gooey hot dog is going right in the face of, now you said the person holding Reine was Sigrid.
Yes.
Eh?
Correct.
Sigrid gets a spicy chili dog in the face. So that is a melee attack. But we don't use that. Okay, so we just draw 2 cards.
Yes.
Just draw 2 cards. 1, 2. That's an ace and a 2.
Okay. Luckily, aces are high, so that is going to be a 16, which is doubled to 32. So what does this jalapeno hot dog barrage look like?
Smush.
Yeah, so you see Sigrid is on the ground and gets a hot dog to the face and is briefly unable to see, even more just kind of put off than where she normally is. Grantham, that is to you. This hand has just let you go after getting a nasty double hand smack from Avalanche.
And to be clear, I've been hit twice. How do I determine how many hits I can take?
You just track the number of hits that you've taken, and if you ever draw a skill check under that number, then you're considered knocked out for the fight.
Oh, got it. Okay, got it.
Yes.
Okay, so having just been whacked twice by the 8-foot Goliath, I am reeling where I stand, and I take a look at the look back at the Avalanche, and Grantham takes his cane and he wags at him and goes, "Time someone chopped you down to size." And then I run away. I jump on the ring ropes and I springboard into a backwards moonsault, which is like a backflip, but I land upside down, body first, in the face of the Avalanche.
I love that.
It's like a luchador Chris Jericho lion salt move for any wrestling fans.
I love that. Let's see that skill check.
Okay, I have to do this with disadvantage. Oh no. Okay, the lower number is a 12.
Okay, so you do this moonsault, and you end up, charging towards the Avalanche, legs first. You kind of kick into him, and he barely flinches. Hardly could call that a flinch, and grabs you, and he, on the crackback, swings you around over his head and just drops you on the mat. And so that's gonna be one more hit for you.
Okay.
But as you are being kind of battered and tossed around, you notice that these strikes are very showy, but I mean you're a little shaken up, but you're certainly not hurt. So that's good to know. However, Reine, this is a different situation for you since you are fighting Sigrid. However, it is your turn. just as a reminder, you are on top of Sigrid, who has jalapeno and hot dog in her face. So she's kind of trying to get that off of her to get a clear line of sight. As you're just kind of rolling around.
I'm considering to use like my supernatural strength to throw her at another wrestler.
Absolutely.
Nora just busy with Jin.
Yeah.
Are you gonna grab her, swirl around in a circle so that she's like, with centrifugal force, she's around your midsection, she's hanging off, and her arms go out, and so you're going, whoa, 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 and then you're gonna throw her into someone?
Yeah, exactly. That was the plan. Maybe they'll also get chili dogged. I guess maybe a Gravedigger?
All right. So you're going to pick her up and throw her. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay. So I am going to pull in what is going to be an opposed skill check so that we can see the full breadth. So you're going to do your skill check, and I'm going to make a skill check for Sigrid, and it looks like your advantage of a queen and a jack, which is 23, because I can do math. That beats the skill check of 11 for Sigrid. So you absolutely, you pick her up, you throw her, and she lands into Gravedigger, who looks like he was taking a second to kind of conjure up some henchmen almost, but in the middle of this ritual, it seems, he is struck with Sigrid, and so they both kind of fall in a heap. And so that is going to be that. All right, and that's doubled, and that's doubled. So Jim is still invisible and rolling around with Norwich. You actually see Norwich, he's on the ground, and he gets picked up, and he gets... he's being like swung around in the air, and then he gets dropped. And it's looking pretty good. Certainly if, these fighters are, you've got the upper hand, and you can tell that the crowd is still in your favor. Not quite as hyped as it was before. So the values are going to go back to normal instead of being doubled for this next round. But still, you hear people chanting your names as you go to perform these moves. And I'm just
Luchador, Luchador,
Luchador,
pickle, and then just
Frankfurter. So I don't see any bonuses here, so that's going to be another round with no extras. And I will go ahead and I am currently drawing for the next round of the other combatants. Okay, so you see Gravedigger, he gets up and he kind of takes Sigrid, and Sigrid is being used as a human weapon. So he kind of takes Sigrid, and he throws her back at you, Camilla. And so she kind of falls in front of this hot dog cart, gets a little some of the hot dog water that's, keeping the hot dogs nice and warm, kind of falls out of the open kind of steam tray and falls on her as she lands.
Did she injure herself?
So actually,
Sigrid, in the wrestling, you're not supposed to actually get burned.
She just looks at you and she scowls. You can see
you are so clumsy. You're not actually supposed to get injured. This, if you are a bad wrestler and you injure yourself or others, you may not be called back.
You can see that she kind of scowls at you, and you notice that the actual throw into the hot dog cart was done in a way that wouldn't actually hurt her that much. But I'm
making fun of her because she's actually our enemy.
Yes.
whatever chance I have to dig on her, I can. This is Sigurd, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Of course. So then the Avalanche goes and he runs after, now that Reine is without a combatant, he runs over there and he is going to, he's going to kind of grapple with you. So Reine, I'm going to have you make another opposed skill check here. So you have to beat an 8 and a queen, which is a 20.
And we're drawing, and the cards are...
Okay, so neither of those are going to beat. And so using the top one, that's going to be a fail of 5 or more, which is going to be a rather significant fail. So
to describe the mechanics for the listeners,
yes,
Reine drew a 3 and a 4 and 10 and a 5 because as a villain, she has to take with disadvantage.
And
right?
She takes it.
No, advantage.
Yeah.
With it.
She draws with advantage and halves the value.
So she took the 10 and the 5.
Yes.
So that's a 15 and then takes half the value of that, which is 7.
Yes. And so since the Avalanche got a 20 on his skill check, she failed by 10 or more because I can definitely do math. So that's going to be...
We walk through the steps. It's all good. Everybody's learned. Nobody has played this game before.
That is true. So that's going to be a pretty significant fail. And the way that manifests is... so Reine...
Reine is like, why did you talk?
So Reine, you're going to take 3 instead of 1 counter. Your counter is going to go up by 3. And the reason that happens is because... because of all of this melee going on, there's a little bit of unsteadiness. And when the Avalanche goes to do a people's elbow, so he jumps and he goes horizontal and leads elbow first right into your ribs.
Ow!
He accidentally instead of hitting you kind of in the softer part of your torso, he hits you right on the rib, and that certainly hurts. So you're gonna take 3 counters instead of just the normal 1.
My IQ just went up because that's smarts.
And so there are no bonuses here. 1, 2, 3. We're one away from a straight here. There are 4 spades, but we need 5. So that is going to end. That's not going to end. I did the bonuses early. So Norwich is going to kind of get up from the floor, and he's going to go use his sunglasses, and somehow he's able to spear tackle Jim Visible. For a second, he comes out of his invisibility to kind of gloat to the crowd, and he flexes. But as he does that, Norwich comes from behind him as he's not looking and spear tackles him and brings it back down to the floor. And it's going to be, and so they're going back and forth again, but this time the crowd can see Jim Visible, and so you hear some gasps as they were not expecting that, certainly. And finally, Sigrid gets up and pushes off and grabs this hot dog cart from you, Camilla, and attempts to wrench it away from you to use it as ammunition. I'm going to have you make an opposed skill check.
So I draw 2 cards?
Yes.
I flip them over and it's, one of my cards got stolen from me.
Oh.
It was 2 kings until it went across the table.
Okay, so you are able to, you succeed. So what happens there is Sigrid tries to wrench the hot dog cart away from you, but you are ready for it and you wrench it back. And so she gets off balance and she falls to a knee. And Sigrid is not having a good time right now. I'll just say that she's not having a good time.
Can I say that she pulled on a tray? Because I know where all the handles are and where all the trays are. So I pulled on like a cart handle and she pulled on a tray. And what happened was that a tray of the stinkiest pineapple, blue cheese, banana pepper, horseradish, sun-dried tomatoes, feta, and cilantro just all fell on her face.
Oh, no. And you even hear the crowd. They kind of wince.
All the toppings that I keep in a drawer together.
Exactly. And now Sigrid is not only covered in hot dog water and stinky horseradish and blue cheese, but you can all smell her. It's not a fun sight.
I should have done that to Jim Visible.
Wait, he's on our side.
He's on our side.
Wait. Never mind.
All right, and so this thus begins the third round. This could be, just looking at the scores, it is very close. The enemy team seems to have gotten a foothold, and they're looking pretty well. The crowd has shifted more so to their favor, but it's kind of a mix of both, and it's pretty close. Depending on your polls, you could end it this round. So that is going to be Camilla, to you.
My hot dog cart in my possession. I make up a special hot dog. It's got kimchi, avocado slices, seasoned wild aster, vinegared carrots, daikon, lotus, and is topped with a fried egg. And this particular hot dog is intended for none other than Sigrid. Because, I mean, now I just want to give her something nice. So I gently hand her the hot dog. And then trip her! I draw 2 cards for a melee attack with hot dog distraction as a 5 and a 4.
All right. So that is going to be... Sigrid hesitates for a second because she's very confused, because why are you handing her a hot dog in the middle of a wrestling match? And then boom, she hits her head on the back of the ring. And
I'm a good wrestler. She doesn't get injured at all from me wrestling her.
No, certainly not. That was a well-placed strike, but she is certainly down on the ground and has to pull herself up.
Oh, can I do the thing where I'm like pulling on her joints to like break her leg or whatever, but I'm like just gently applying pressure?
Ooh, you know what? I love that. Yeah, so you know what does that look like?
It looks like me sitting on her, right? To pin her down.
Right.
And holding her leg back, you know, so that her knee is bent, and it looks like a terrible angle, but I'm actually not hurting her at all. And then, but what I haven't noticed is that her face is right in the blue cheese that was on her before. So she's actually struggling.
Yes, so Sigrid has a face full of blue cheese as you perform this wrestling hold, and you can hear the crowd gasp as they're worried about Sigrid, but they're still excited about the match that's going on. Grantham, that is to you. You have been doing some heavy hitting thus far, just looking at these totals.
I should have. I don't know if you remembered my bonus, because I forgot it. So my bonus, my second move, I could have quadrupled, but I didn't, and that's on me. So with a sheer double, what Grantham's going to do... Wait, what does the ring look like at the minute? We've got Sigrid's getting in a Boston crab, face full of cheese.
Yep.
Jim Visible has Flesh Ripper in kind of a grapple. They're just sort of tussling.
Yeah, it looks like Norge is having the upper hand there. Avalanche is over by Reine, and Gravedigger is he's once again kind of, as he has a moment to himself, he's trying to summon some undead around him to kind of give him the assist.
Okay, so having just taken a big old hit, Grantham is like and starts slowly climbing the turnbuckle in the corner. Gets up to the top of the turnbuckle. It's the one that's closest to the Gravedigger. And what he's going to attempt to do is he's going to attempt to jump up and land in a senton, meaning that he lands crotch first in the face of the Gravedigger with a leg either side hanging down the shoulder, and then attempt a Hurricane Rana, which is basically Grantham is going to kick his head back and lever his body so that it flips Gravedigger over. However, rather than trying to get Gravedigger on his back, Grantham's going to try and angle it so that he goes crashing into the Avalanche, hopefully distracting them both from hurting whoever they're going to hurt.
I love this. That's going to be an opposed check, but I love
sugar
this.
balls. Okay,
so Gravedigger. Oh, sorry, that's yours.
Yep, thank you.
That's also yours. This is mine. Okay, so because Gravedigger is technically a heal archetype, you have to beat a 30.
Oh,
because this is doubled.
Right. Wait, you said he's a heal, which means you take the advantage and it's halved.
You are absolutely right. I'm forgetting my own rule. So you only have to beat a 9.
Okay. Whoa. Okay, so the first one's a 10. That's the lowest. That's the lower number. It's a 3 and a 2, but then that's doubled.
Yeah.
And then the stronger. Oh, and then the other one is, oh hell, it's an ace and a joker, which I think technically is what a. It's because
16.
it's a joker. It's that's a 16. But is that a critical fail? Because
Yes.
it's a joker. No.
So it all looks good. It all looks good for you for a second, and you get up on the turnbuckle and you jump in his face, crotch first, and you throw back your head. But the Gravedigger was able to finish his ritual, and so you feel a set of about half a dozen hands wrench you from his face mid flip, and so they grab him. But they use your momentum against you, and they throw you across the ring into the Avalanche, who is ready for you. And he grabs you, and he grabs you by the head, and he just head first just hits you down into the ring. So I'm going to say, because that's a crit fail, that's going to be an extra 5 that you have to add to your counter.
Oh my goodness.
But
Amazing.
I'm also going to use this number. So that's going to be a 15. And so that's doubled. So you still get some crowd favor. Because, this is very exciting. But you are certainly starting to feel the effects of this match. And yeah, so I assume it probably takes a second for Grantham to kind of get up from after that.
Yeah, Grantham like has dropped his cane. He starts looking for his cane somewhere. He's like, I don't have my glasses on.
You see one of the zombies before it dematerializes back into the ground. It kind of flicks your cane back to where you can grab it, because even though you're combatants and you're fighting, this is all sportsmanship. This is all good fun. They're not going to leave you hanging like that.
No, but I don't have my glasses on, so the cane just whacks me in the face. Like, ah! I can't catch it.
So that is going to be Reine. That is to you.
Okay. Considering the Avalanche just messed up my friend and Sigrid is being taken care of.
Yes.
I mean, these people are all very strong, but Reine's ability is specifically superhuman strength. So, can I attempt to pick up the Avalanche, hold him over my head, and throw him?
Absolutely, you can. That's gonna be unopposed skill check. But if I could, so the good news for you, you only have to beat an 8.
Aye.
All right. So the Avalanche got an 8, and you got a 14. But because of being a heal, the 14 was with advantage. So you go down to so that goes down to a 7. And so that is going to be, so you pick up the Avalanche and you go to spin him around and throw him, but he kind of grabs you as you throw him, and though he is thrown across the ring, he kind of brings you with him, and so you fall, and it's a little bit unsteady. That's going to add 1 to your counter. Which, speaking of, what is that counter at? Let's do a quick check for the audience. So Reine, what number is that? What number is your counter at?
I'm on 5.
Okay. That was a close one. Grantham.
I'm on 8.
Okay. And Camilla.
I'm not sure if I've taken any counters.
I don't think so, actually. You've
I
been,
don't think so.
hot dog vendors, pretty well camouflaged, I guess.
Yep. A ranged
Yay.
queen.
Yeah.
Indeed. So as we get into the next round, and Jim Visible and Norwich, they're also still there. They're still fighting. They're still going. They kind of got each other. They had each other's number from the beginning of the fight. So they're just they're almost taking themselves out of the fight. So it's back to like a 3-on-3, if you will. So we are going to go for the next round of the enemy combatants.
And this ends when we hit a crowd favor of 200, right? So who's got, like, what are both of our crowd favors, them and us?
Yes. So the fire breathing, and so as you take a second to ask that question to yourself, you see a scoreboard of sorts, because that exists. And so the fire breathing kittens have a crowd favor score of 192, very close. And the Tournament of Champions have a crowd favor of 140. However, they will be going. So they may be able to end it. As you kind of take a second in between these hits and these displays of strength, you notice that, you're not hurt, but you're certainly tired. You're shaken up. But the other
I'm
side,
almost out of hot dog ingredients. Sorry. Go on. Sorry to interrupt.
No, you're good.
I thought it would be funny.
It was. But the other side also seems to be pretty tired, and covered in said hot dog ingredients.
That's where they went.
Exactly. So we are going to, I see a crit fail, and that's Sigrid's pile. She is getting, probably for the better, she is getting piled on. So the first thing that happens is going to be Gravedigger. After this, I will shuffle the deck. But so Gravedigger goes through and he kind of runs, Camilla. He runs over to you, because nobody's hit you yet, and he needs to do something. So he runs over and he jumps and he kind of belly flops right on top of you.
Oh, squishing me and then squishing Sigrid, who I'm sitting on top of.
Yes.
Pulling her leg back.
Exactly. So Sigrid takes that hit too, which is a good thing. So then you have the Avalanche, who runs back over to Reine, and does kind of a bull rush. So he runs kind of arms back. As he comes to you, Reine, he wraps you up in what can be described as a bear hug, hits you against the ropes, and then does a backflip to drop you on the ground. It seems that the theme here is squishing. So you see Norwich, he had a really good round. He actually straight up, as Jim Visible is still visible, he hasn't had time to go back to his form yet. You see Norwich straight up throws Jim Visible out of the ring.
Oh no.
And so Norwich takes a beat, and he flexes for the crowd, and the crowd is going crazy. And Sigrid is going to, well, you know what? With a crit fail, that actually, so you see, Camilla, you kind of wait for Sigrid to make a move. You wait a second, and you take a look. She is cold. She is knocked out.
Oh, I let go.
So she's done.
From the avalanche landing on us both. Yeah. No, not for me.
The combination of Gravedigger landing on you, you're able to jump up, get relatively unscathed, and then you are, you see Sigrid does not get up. She looks okay, because these are not hits meant to actually inflict damage, but she is knocked out cold.
Oh goodness. I switch into a defensive stance, where I'm making sure nobody steps on the poor unconscious Sigrid. There's a lot of stuff going on here, so I'm going to make sure she doesn't get, trodden.
You know what? That is a very charitable action. I'm going to give you a bonus of 10 crowd favor, because people love seeing that. And you know what? With that bonus of 10, we actually see the scoreboard tick over for the fire-breathing kittens, tick over to 202, which means that the fire-breathing kittens have won the match.
Yay! I throw hot dogs to everyone. They've got caramelized onions, fried pickles, fried mushrooms, and a balsamic vinegar glaze.
Sounds delicious. So Vance gets back on the microphone, And he says, "What a wonderful showing for the fire-breathing kittens!" And the crowd is just going crazy. You see that there are some producers that cart Sigrid off, make sure that she's tended to. And you see Jim Visible kind of get up and walk back into the ring. And now that the match is over, it's very, very sportsmanlike. So they all, kind of get in the middle. They shake your hand, congratulate you on a win. Well done. And so Vance comes out from another area, and he walks into the ring from your set of stairs, and he is holding an envelope. And so he hands the envelope to you, and he says, "My, that was incredible fighting. Never in my life have I seen such expertise of hot dogs and old man strength and lycanthropy. Wonderful. As such, I am very happy to offer you the prize for winning the Tournament of Champions." And so he hands you an envelope, and he says, "This is an envelope for 15,000 gold. You may do whatever you see fit with it, and we hope that you will return to our Tournament of Champions again."
Grantham is still lying flat on the ring, having been completely crushed, and is just slowly getting up to his feet, is finding his cane. He puts both hands on top of the cane and gets himself up, and has just enough time to smile and wave to the crowd before the cane slips from under him, and he goes back on the mat.
You see that over on the side, Reine, you clock this. So these what looks like medical staff are giving some smelling salts to Sigrid to wake her up. And so she jumps with a start, and she looks around and she realizes what's happening. And she makes eye contact with you, and she takes out pen and paper, writes something quickly, and makes a paper airplane and throws it at you before running out of the venue.
Oh, I want that.
And when you open it, it says, this was a distraction and I escaped. No, I'm just kidding. Go ahead.
No, when you open the note...
it says, "I hate hot dogs."
When you open the note, you can tell that the handwriting is shaky, and it just says, "This isn't over."
Okay, so typical dramatic Sigrid.
Of course.
I don't know what Reine does with the thing. She has no pockets right now. Maybe she just eats it. She goes over. She goes over to our local champion, G Picklebottom, and she would offer her hand, and she would basically like to just lift you up and put you on her shoulder.
Thank you very much. I appreciate the ride home.
And then we can incite the crowd and do one last yeah, hands in the air and yeah.
And I'm doing that from your shoulder, ass in the air, branding of Sal's custom costumes well in view from your shoulder, but behind you I'm also waving to the crowd.
Yeah, so I think you all take a company front almost with your adversaries. You all kind of hold hands. You take a bow, very theatrical, and so you walk off back into your corners. And so a producer leads you back to the dressing room, where your kind of day clothes were, and as you are kind of getting ready and cleaning yourself off, you hear one more knock at the door, and this time it sounds familiar but much less happy.
I have an inkling who it might be.
I make up a special hot dog.
And I go and answer the door.
So Grantham, you open the door, and it is Ramses Joyner once again. You can see that he looks significantly angrier than you saw him. And and he kind of scowls at you and he says, I thought we had a deal.
I slowly start closing the door again.
He puts his hand in the door and he wrenches it open. And so he kind of takes a look at you. And he looks at the three of you. And he said, and he says, well, this little hiccup cost me several 100,000 gold. I am not happy when I lose that kind of money in a night. And so he just kind of stares you down a little bit and he said, you, and he points at Camilla, something about you. I don't know what it is, but something about you. You watch your back from now on. I will make myself whole. And you all, and he points to you as he's kind of like walking out the door, you all watch your backs. There will be repercussions from this. And he slams the door.
Before he leaves.
Yes.
Okay. So when he's like, you watch your back to me, I reach up to the paper hat on my head, triangle shaped, classic hot dog vendor hat.
Yep.
And I take it off.
And so you see this.
And I shake out my hair. And I stand there like, just maybe he'll recognize me.
He takes a beat, and the anger, for a second, you see this range of emotions on his face. You see anger go to confusion, go to kind of a blank, like a loading screen, go to recognition.
And as he's loading, before he has a chance to respond, I say, sometimes in life, you get your just desserts. And I give him a dessert hot dog. It's got sprinkles. It's got ice cream. It's got whipped cream and a cherry on top. And as he's standing there, jaw open, I put a hot dog in his mouth and leave. Gross. Sounded better before I did it.
So you put this hot dog in his mouth and you kind of push him out. As you push him out the door and you see the door close behind you, you see that moment of recognition on his face. And there's so many emotions that's going on. There's confusion, there's anger, there's a little bit of like, is that worry? Is that fear behind him? And you
Probably not. He doesn't expect much of me.
Well, you see these emotions. Surprise maybe is the better word for it. As he's pushed out the door, dessert hot dog in mouth. And with that, we can call it for this episode. I have been your GM and our players have been Reine.
Well, for once, we didn't get our butt kicked by Sigrid.
Grantham.
Everything hurts, but my heart is full.
And Camilla.
Why were the customers at peace after visiting the hot dog stand?
Thank you for listening to this episode of...
No, that was a question.
Oh.
It made them one with everything.
Oh.
All right. And with that, thank you for listening to this episode of Fire Breathing Kittens. We hope you listen to more.
Bye.
Bye.
Have you heard of A Hint of Fiction? Every episode, they tell 3 stories. 2 are true, and 1 is false, based on a specific theme. Then they reveal which was true or false at the end of the episode. Check out A Hint of Fiction, a podcast.